Hello everyone, my name is Vimal Raj. I'm a lecturer in Mechanical Department from GEMS Polytechnic College. Today we're gonna see about air pollution, that is unit number 2 according to SPT syllabus. So this is from Environmental and Pollution Control subject, that is 1625503. Today's lecturing is about disastrous effect of air pollution on human health. The content that we're gonna see today is disastrous effect of air pollution on human health and the effect of air pollution on human health. So these are two things that we're gonna see in detail, that how this air pollution is causing major pollution, major disastrous effect on human, which is making enormous problem in humans life, because people are not really cared about those things, because this pollution are very important, because when we are not looking for take a serious action, it can cause a great effect on human life. It's a video from the World Health Organization where you could understand how this air pollution is causing problems in human. So the first problem that we're gonna see is the respiratory and the heart problems. We all know that because of air pollution, people tend to have this respiratory and the heart problems, because the pollution that is spreading in the atmosphere, which is inhaled by a human being, it causes severe air pollution, and which is not recommendable for anyone, because the chemical that is present in the atmosphere can cause a tremendous amount of disease. See, most of the people who are exposed to this kind of things, they face this asthma or breathing problem, or heart problems, rise in blood pressure. They have this anxiety. So many things are happening. So because of this air pollution, and you know what? When we inhale oxygen, it is the oxygen that present in the atmosphere. It is helpful for our red blood corpuscles, RBC. That is, it can increase our RBC. But what if this atmosphere, the air that we inhale have only chemicals, which is not good, right? So the effect of air pollutions are alarming. They are known to create several respiratory and heart conditions, along with cancer, among other threats to the body. Several millions are known to have died due to direct or indirect effect of air pollution. Children in areas exposed to air pollution are said to commonly suffer from pneumonia and asthma. See, there's a reason people who are exposed to this directly or indirectly to this air pollution, they face pneumonia as well as asthma. It is not only for the small children, but it's also for all the human beings as well as for the animal beings. Because when these air has been inhaled by human, obviously they will have this condition wherein which they have this respiratory problem, and the bronchi will be tightened up, and the lungs will be tightened up, and they cannot breathe easily, they cannot breathe properly because of the respiratory condition. So I just want to show you a picture. So with this picture, you can see that there are two types. One is natural, and next one is the manufactured. So the natural way of pollution is the volcanic eruption and the forest fires, which is causing air pollution and which is creating impact on human. And the manufacturing thing is nothing but the industries and the other power plants, all the things. So which is also creating air pollution. So people who are really in this area, they should always be recommended to wear this respiratory mask, because they cannot inhale this air directly. If they are doing it, so obviously they will face a tremendous amount of pollution, and which is not recommendable, and which is not good for health also. So people should be aware, and government should take necessary action, that controlling of this natural air pollution is impossible, but they can control the manufacturing area, in which they can insist the factories and the other people to build the factories away from the residential area, so that it can be saved. Next one is global warming. So global warming is one of the reasons. So global warming is one of the important things that we have to look into, because nowadays global warming is coming out enormously higher in a higher range, where in which if you take before corona and after corona. Before corona, the temperature change that was happening was not perfect, because during the winter time the temperature would be like summer. People have not really enjoyed or not uh, into this kind of temperature change. And after this corona, there was no transports, no pollution, all those things were shut down. Because of that, we really faced a temperature change. The summer was really less comparatively compared to last year, and we even faced the monsoon. There is a heavy rainfall is what's happening in the northern part of India, and even south side also the enormous rain was happening. But it was not there when it was previous year. So this global warming is an effect wherein which there is a ozone layer in the atmosphere, and that is the protection from the direct fall of radiation from the sun. So this ozone layer protecting human as well as the earth from the direct impact of the sun. So when this air pollution comes, there will be there will be tremendous amount of chemical will be released right into the atmosphere. So these chemical, when it's spreading in the atmosphere, it it can damage the ozone layer. So when if it is damaged, what happens? This ozone layer might be tearing apart, and once it is tearing apart, the fall of sunlight will be more, and it will be directly falling on the earth. So when it directly falls on the earth, what happens? Human and animal being will be suffer. They will be suffering, because we can see that when the global warming is more, and if we are exposed to this kind of heavy temperature, what happens is people might face cancer, a skin cancer, a skin burning will happen. So many things are there. So what is global warming? Another direct effect is the immediate alterations that the world is witnessing due to global warming. The increased temperatures worldwide, increase in sea levels and melting of ice from colder regions and icebergs, displacements and loss of habitat have already signaled an impending disaster if actions for preservation and normalization aren't undertaken. So what it is that we could see the sea level is increasing day by day, because the icebergs, the ices in the mountain are melting enormously or more because the rise in temperature. This is the impact of global warming, which creates an enormous amount of danger. Next one is the acid rain. So we all know what is acid rain. When the acid content in the atmosphere mixes with the rain, that forms the acid rain. So the harmful gases like nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides are released into the atmosphere during the burning of fossil fuels. When it rains, the water droplet combines with these air pollutant, becomes acidic, and then falls on the ground in the form of acid rain. Acid rain can cause great damage at human, animal, and crops. So from this picture, you could see that the nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide is being emitted from the factories as well as from the vehicles, which in turn mixes with the molecules of the atmosphere and which cause a air pollution. And when it forms, when the rain is coming, these things mix with the rain and it comes as a acid rain, so which can destroy the crops as well as it can create a big impact on human and animals. Basically, when these rains mix with the actual drinking water, it's not recommendable to drink because the acidic nature will be totally changing. The characteristics of water will be changing, and because of that, what happens? It is not recommendable to drink. So hazardin is one of the most important things that we have to look into, because this also creates a great impact on human health, which is not recommendable. And that is the reason, that's the thing that I always used to insist, that government should take awareness, and government should take steps that they should keep these factories away from the residential areas or from the agriculture field. So the eutrophication. Eutrophication is a condition where a high amount of nitrogen present in the some pollutant gets developed on sea surface and turns itself into algae and adversely affects fish, plants, and animal species. The green colored algae that are present on the lakes and ponds is due to the presence of this chemical only. So from this picture you can see that the green color area, it is like an algae that is forming on the surface, on the water. So these algae are just formed, not just formed like that. It has formed because the amount of nitrogen present in some pollutants, which is in turn gets developed on the sea surfaces and turns itself into algae. So that adversely what happens is, when it turns into algae, when the sea, on the sea surface or lakes or ponds, the fishes that lives under the water, they will go and they will just eat that algae, and what happens? They will die, because this is a chemical which is not recommendable, which is not good for aquatic animals, so for the aquatic creatures. So these algae are the mixture of nitrogen, so this is not good. As well as what happens is, when this chemical mixes, it will take the oxygen in the water. So when the oxygen is being removed from water, obviously fishes cannot breathe, and oxygen content, it will totally eradicate, or it will totally dissolve the oxygen contents, which is not good. So the aquatic life will be totally devastated, and it can create an impact. So these are the green colored areas you could see from the pictures, which is the algae, and which is formed due to the nitrogen. Effect on wildlife. Just like human, animals also face some devastating effects of air pollution. Toxic chemicals present in the air can force wildlife species to move to a new place and change their habitat. The toxic pollutant deposits over the surface of water and can also affect sea animals. Basically what happens is, this will not only affect the human beings but also affects the animal. So it also faces a devastating effect of air pollution, because as we inhale oxygen, animals also inhale oxygen. They are not inhaling carbon dioxide, okay? So they are also inhaling oxygen. So oxygen is very important for everyone. When this air has been polluted, what happens? The proportion for getting pure oxygen will be less, because toxic chemical present in the air can force the wildlife species to move to a new place. Because what happens is, suppose the wildlife, for example, some animals are living in Bihar, and if the Bihar has been totally polluted and there is very less amount of oxygen, what they will do is, from Bihar it will move to Jharkhand. So what happens is, it will change the habitat. So what happens? Automatically it needs oxygen to survive, so it moves. And what if it comes and mingles with the human, when it comes and mingles with the people who's a habitat in a particular area. So when it comes to that area, obviously it will become a clash. So what happens? These animals will try to attack the human, and human will try to attack the animal. So automatically it goes to a total devastation. So because of air pollution, there are so many things which we have to look forward, look into, wherein which creates an enormous thing, and which creates a major problem. And these gases, if they inhale, means if they inhale polluted gases, and they will suffocate, and obviously they will die. Depletion of the ozone layer. So that's one more reason, that is because of global warming. We already saw the depletion of the ozone layer. Ozone exists in the Earth's stratosphere, and in response for protecting humans from the harmful ultraviolet UV rays. Earth's ozone layer is depleting due to the presence of hydrofluorocarbons in the atmosphere. As the ozone layer will go thin, it will emit harmful ray back on the Earth, can cause skin and eye related problems. UV rays also have the capability to affect crops. So basically this ozone layer has been affected because of the chlorofluorocarbon and hydrofluorocarbon. So basically these two things are from the fridge and from the AC, air conditions. So these compressors are outside of our house, right? So these things will emit these chlorofluorocarbons and the hydrofluorocarbons in the atmosphere. So when this gets, what happens, it will go and it affects the ozone layer. So if suppose the ozone layer is being reduced, I mean it becomes thin, so there are so many chance that the harmful ultraviolet rays can directly fall on the earth. So if it falls, it will create a major problem. So some because of this ozone layer, when the UV ray falls on the earth, it will be reflected because of the protection of ozone layer. But if it is not there, if the layer is very thin, means so it can penetrate to that and it comes and reaches earth. So you know what, earth is filled with living beings, right? So we will be suffering, we will suffer, as well as animals will suffer. So many things will happen. So we should really look it forward, because we should control the pollution. So it is in our hands to control the air pollution, spread of air pollution. So the effects of air pollution on human health. So our physical and psychological well-being is affected differently by the kind of air pollutions we are exposed to. There are many organs and bodily functions that can be harmed, and the consequences including fatigue, headaches, and anxiety. I was talking about anxiety, right? They will have fatigue and headaches, they will have continuous, because when they inhale this polluted air, obviously they will be suffering with the headaches. Next one is the irritation of the eyes and nose and throat. So when this chemical contents enters the bronchi or the eyes and nose, obviously it will irritate. So what we will feel is, we will not feel comfortable. Because of the not comfortableness, what happens is, we will tend to irritate. I mean, we'll try to squeeze it. So we'll have this irritations. So damage of reproductive organs. So in animals as well as in humans, the reproductive system can be damaged because of the air pollution. Then is the harm to the liver, spleen, and blood. I was talking about spleen, blood, right? Because oxygen is helpful for the RBC, growth of RBC. So what if this oxygen is less, and because of the less in oxygen, it can harm the liver as well as the spleen and blood. Nervous system damage. So the nervous system is very important. It can damage the nervous system as well as the respiratory disease. Finally, the respiratory disease. So people will have this lung failure, asthma. They will have another problems they will face because of this air pollution. And the cardiovascular damage, that is like cardiac arrest. They will face some cardiac arrest. So with this, I would like to close this lecturing. So today we have discussed about in details on the disastrous effect of air pollution and the effect of air pollution on human. So this is a reference notes, you can see it if you need it. Thank you guys, thank you for listening to this lecture. So we will see in the next video on the next topic. Thank you.